the ride-hailing space and the transportation space in Lagos is heating up. But before we come back to Lagos, let's go to Kenya, right? Kenya has this, they had this initiative. So electric vehicles are it seem to be more of a thing in East Africa than Nigeria. So
Ghana too is
doing some interesting things. In Nigeria, we have Max.ng. And I'm sorry if you're working in this space and we don't know you or what you're doing, but please reach out to Ghana. Max, Siltech, Tolulokbe Williams. You can check out the video on Tech Point.
Yeah, Max is doing something
interesting. So apart from those two I just mentioned, can you think of any other person?
Electric vehicles.
So
I think GIGM said they were using a few electric vehicles.
GIG. So why I didn't think of GIG is because I'm thinking of them more in the more
mobility
logistics side.
Okay. They said they were going to be using
for GIGM.
Yeah, for GIGL. They're going to be using electric
vehicles for transportation.
Yeah, GIGL.
We need to.
No, we have a story on it where I think
they
live? Tested it. Yeah, it's been a while. Like around the time when they launched it. They checked how long on full charge it would take. I think you could go from Lagos to Ibadan. Can't remember how many hours, but there's a story.
Cool. So my bad then. So there's GIG, and I think Nord too has been doing some interesting things, but I don't know if it's fully operational for transportation too. That's the question. But we are hearing that Kenya has received $377 million to build electric buses. What's the plan?
Okay, I mean, so like you said, a lot of the development in the electric vehicle space has been, at least in Africa, most of it has been in East Africa. For some reason, I'm not yet sure. Maybe it's government regulations that is encouraging it, because Bolt has piloted electric vehicles in Kenya. I think they wanted to do something in Nigeria, I can't remember, but a lot of it has been in Kenya. So I guess government regulations are making it very easy, and then the idea is that we could build a bus route, and it's like strictly electric buses. So 377 million. That's a huge amount of money, and it is going to be interesting to see how far it can go in bringing electric vehicles mainstream. I mean, it's not yet mainstream in any part of the world, but I think Kenya seems to be taking a lead on that, and it will be interesting to just see how that goes.
So the question I'm asking now is, a lot of things are coming to my mind, right? You say you want to do something like this. It's a really awesome project, really ambitious project, but where are they going to get these buses from? There are manufacturers in Kenya that could actually pull their weight and do this, but for this amount, how are they going to get it buses? Are they going to behave like a government I know that will contract a foreigner to build stuff for Nigeria? Not Nigeria, a country I know. Or are they going to leverage these local players? Are they going to benefit from it? So the question in my head is, where are they going to get these buses from? Then number two, how long is it going to take to have this rolling? And I hope this is not going to be a white elephant project where you build it and no one can afford to use it.
Yeah, that's a really interesting question. I'm leaning towards the fact that they will use local players to do it. We had
Bolu, you sound like a robot now. Please, live.
Okay.
The air is coming. Okay.
I'm leaning towards Kenya using local players to do this, because they actually have a company that specifically builds electric buses, right? I'm trying to look for the name of that company, but what it does is they build buses, like mainly buses, nothing else, right? So they recently they raised about, was not $70 million.
Basigo?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, they raised some amount of money, and I think that just automatically places them like they're the perfect person to do that, right?
Okay, so they're just drawing my attention to the fact that are they actually building buses, or are they just building bus lanes?
No, they are not. So what's going on is they're actually building bus lanes.
Okay.
Right. but then bus lanes means you need electric buses on those lanes.
Okay.
So those lanes are basically serving as, I don't know if you know the way electric trains work, right? Electric trains work in such a way that the rail line, there's an electrical source for the train on that rail line, right? So it's not as if it's using a battery or anything. It's like you are constantly connected to a grid on that lane. So it's not as if you need to go for a charge or something like that. So what they want to do is build those lanes where those buses will work. But then you still need buses that will work on those lanes, even though you have NEPA connection in your house, but you don't have anything that uses electricity, right? So it's still a valid conversation
to be had. Okay.
Have.
So yeah, I'm guessing it's like you mentioned or you hinted. I think it's more of a policy drive that they've reduced import duty on electric vehicles that come to Kenya, and they've kind of tried to foster an enabling environment for electric vehicles. I hope some countries are listening to this. But yeah, that's quite an interesting one. So what are you betting will happen with this? Are we going to see Kenya transition from the matatus to electric buses, electric BRT systems?
Yeah, I'd like to root for them that this would happen within a reasonable time.
3
to 4 years at least. Okay, so maybe not like complete acceptance, but at least so I like Kenya is not such a large country compared to Nigeria. So can we have it transporting 10% of Kenyans in the next 4 years? And
that would be a win.
Yeah, that would be a win, I think. And over the next 20 years, it could get to, let's say, 30%. So I'm not holding out hope that it would even get to half, but can you have a plan where over the next 20 years, you have between 20 to 25%?
I actually think something like this could happen in Lagos soon. Well, because the new...
With the road development fund fee.
Well, if you think about the new rail lines that were just commissioned, the blue rail line, that is the kind of technology it uses. The trains are electric. So
it's the same train that was being pushed.
I think that's a conversation. I actually spoke to some people about
They pushed the train. Bolu, you did not mention this.
I spoke to some people about that. And
there's a video.
I saw the video.
Train.
Yes.
Train.
Yes.
Was on WhatsApp now. On our WhatsApp.
Train.
Yes.
Yeah.
So when I asked about that, the thing they said, the Lagos state government said that they were not actually pushing the train. That was when
Maybe just leaning on.
That was when the trains, when they imported those trains, brought them in,
Okay.
and the contractors men were basically why you call your eyes? That the contractors men were basically goofing around the train,
Because
that they were not pushing it, and they also made an argument that those trains are pretty large, too large to be pushed.
I mean,
but then that's valid.
That's valid because that's also the first thing.
But then I did some
Nigeria,
research.
so,
I did some research, and I found out that it's actually possible to push a train for like 5 people to push a train. That's happened before in India, right?
So
That's what was covering my eyes.
What's the fiscal like?
So I'm
Your-
not very
your
good with
strength.
physics, but
No, not like the physics. So I'm going to assume if you're going to push a bus, there's some. I can't tell you to go and push one bus on your own, but maybe if the 3 of us came together, we could push a bus. So, like, if 5 people were pushing a train, I don't know.
if that's possible,
Like, can 5 people even push a truck?
a truck,
A corn oil truck?
exactly the same arguments. The
government
person,
is making.
yeah.
No,
Okay.
it sounded ridiculous that...
I mean, when I
they are
saw it,
pushing
I
a
looked
train.
at it and I was like, pushing train.
Oh, that
Like,
was what they
when?
sent to the group. Oh,
Yeah. So what I was wondering is, okay, at what time? So we don't have full context, of course. Like, was this when they were taking a ride that maybe it broke down and they had to push it?
It's not when they were taking a ride.
Which is highly unlikely.
I've taken a ride on the train, and I mean, it was pretty solid.
No, I think the Lagos. While I was covering my eye, I was thinking you were about to, because the excuses the government gives sometimes are really cringe. So, but I think the explanation makes sense. I mean, I find it hard to believe that five
Lagosians. It's not like Lagosians are buff like that.
Yeah,
If I throw a stone in the market, most people are going to be lean like me. So the chances are 5 of me is pushing a train. Not something light.